Well, in this episode, we take a look at the highly anticipated K-Bar TDI Flipper, gawk at all of its smooth lines, and get taken in by all that it has to offer? Or are we going to discover some fatal flaws that make it really hard to fall in love with? Well, yeah, that's right, folks. Looking forward to this video. I was really excited to get my hands on this K-Bar TDI Flipper. TDI being Tactical Defense Institute. That's a partnership that K-Bar has been doing for a long time with several fixed blades. I think they did do one folder a long time ago. That was more like kind of, not a karambit, but you know, kind of that idea. They have several short bladed self-defense fixed blades that have been very popular with law enforcement and military over the years that K-Bar has produced. And so when I saw that this was coming out and dropping, you know, budget friendly, in that branding, but very classic, simple design and lines, really connected with me. And K-Bar, you know, they don't have a lot of pocket knives. They have really the K-Bar Dozer has always been kind of their shining light to me, is like, yeah, that's a good budget-friendly folder. And they have a couple other ones that have kind of been hit or miss for me. So when I saw the materials, the design, I was pretty excited. You know, I was like, all right, sweet, this looks good. And I picked it up as soon as I could. So that I could give you guys a full, honest, comprehensive video. We're going to be totally honest with you in this video, show you all the positives, show you all the drawbacks that I see in this, and see whether or not this is something you're going to fall in love with or go, whoa, dang it, I cannot go that direction. So I want to just answer all of that in this particular video and jump right to it. So let's go ahead and take a look at the blade and get into the nitty-gritty on the K-Bar TDI Flipper. All right, so cool, unique blade shape that we got here on this K-Bar. Really liking that a lot. What we're looking at is a high saber grind into a leaf shape, definitely like a spear point design. Kind of got a mild swedge right here. Really digging that. That's a really nice little swedge. So very cool, simple design. What we're looking at is from the handle to the tip, 3.47, so basically 3.5 inches overall. Actual cutting edge is 3.38. Great, you know, amount of cutting edge. A little bit of curve there, not much in the sweep. Definitely more almost of like a Warrenclyffe in the idea of the blade itself, but a good relief edge. Good thickness here of 0.124, so 1/8 of an inch thick back here by the spine, tapering down to that precise but strong tip. You know, it's not super thin. It's not as thick as maybe some other tactical knives would be, you know, that have a stronger tip all the way through, so I wouldn't be stabbing, like totally cranking on it, but it pierced well. And then all the tasks that I put it through, I was very happy with its performance. You know, rope cutting, seatbelt cutting, you know, that type of thing, cordage, all that I was very happy with. And then your basic cardboard cutting and, you know, going through that. So for your daily EDC stuff and puncturing of different plastics and rubbers and all of that, very happy, very basic in what I expected. You know, basically exactly what I thought would happen. It absolutely performed as it should, which is very good. Now the steel that we'll talk about with competitive options here in a little bit is AUS 8A steel, stainless steel. The curious thing for me is that it's Rockweld at 52 to 54. Usually AUS-8 will be Rockweld more around like 56 to 58 is normal. Like that's normally what you see. In some companies will even do like 58 to 60. So it's a pretty low heat treat, meaning that it'll probably be a little tougher, not as like prone to snapping or chipping as some of the other AUS-8s that you can see out there, but lower edge retention is what you will tend to see with that type of Rockwell. So positives and negatives, possibly a little bit more durable, like in lateral, and harder, like not hacking, but you know what I mean, just like impact cuts versus other AUS-8 that's out there. But it is going to have a tendency to not hold its edge as long with that type of Rockwell. So things to consider there. But for the blade shape, very nice, a little bit unique, a little bit different than what we see on a lot of blades out there. And with the grind angles and everything, was very good in its performance in that regard. Now as we move on to the handle, we got G10 with some good texturing there. Not overly grippy, but not smooth either, which is good. It's got a good medium traction there, which I was happy with. on that side, and then that stainless steel frame lock on the other with what looks like probably G10 spacer and then some flow-through construction there on the handle. With that G10 on one side and then the stainless steel, you're looking at 4.8 ounces, so definitely on the heavier end of pocket knives in the size range, starting to get close to 5 ounces, but with a budget-friendly, frame lock in stainless steel, it's not too bad with the weight. And then we are looking at 4.81 inches overall handle length and a thickness of 0.44. So I was actually really digging the handle. The way that they designed it with that finger flipper and that nice little natural cut in right there just really filled out my hand very well. I didn't ever feel like I was going to slide up and hurt myself. So for more of a tactical feeling, TDI, it's an EDC knife, but if you were going to use it in that regard, you got a good lockup and a natural ramp right here. It would have been nice to maybe have a little bit of texture jimping for those heavier cuts because it has the idea of being able to be used with that TDI idea, format. Tactical is in the name, Tactical Defense Institute, TDI. So that would have been a little nice just to give you a little more traction there. For EDC use, you don't need it. I mean, it's totally fine. And feels warm, no hot spots or angles. My large size gloves fits great. That little kind of curve in there cups the pinky very nicely. And you're ready to rock and roll. And a reverse grip, same thing. You got a nice little rest right there, and you're ready to go. Very locked into place. And you could cut for quite a while, and it doesn't create any sort of hot spots. It fits really nicely in the pocket. So handle ergonomics, zero complaints, zero issues there. No lanyard hole to speak of, and that'll bring us right into the pocket clip. It's blacked out, which is great. Fits with the handle, kind of, disappears. Very wide duck bill, but I have no complaints with the pocket clip at all. 3-point. Tip up, tip down though. That's it. There's no mount there for a lefty. So sorry about that. You're not going to get it. So it's a right hand only, carry pocket knife in that regard. And the nice thing is that it's high enough that it's not going to just be this huge, inch sticking out of your pocket, but it's not deep ride either. And what I'm discovering, and we're going to do a video down the line, is that with knives that have the idea that they could be used in a self-defense role, against know what you're doing, know all your laws. I don't recommend that unless you're trained, you know what you're doing, all that stuff, to use a knife in self-defense. But that you do want something sticking out that you can grab. If everything's just loop over deep ride, that's great for EDC, but if you actually want to access the knife very quickly, particularly with gloves or things like that, it can sometimes be a problem. So I think this is a great balance of being still pretty low in the pocket, but having enough sticking up to be able to easily grab. And with that G10 on the other side, it's easy to yank out of your pocket and deploy rather quickly. All right, so now on to deployment, lockup, and we're going to transition also into value and some of the issues that I'm having with the design. So right out of the gate, we got this nice finger flipper, zero complaints with that, very good. Gonna give you great leverage right there. Boom, gonna whip right open. I don't even have to flick my wrist, and this bad boy flies right open. So that I love that aspect to the flipper. They really designed that well. Whoop, hit the table there. There we go. You do have thumb studs, and they have milled out the G10 enough that you can easily engage. So if you're more of a thumb stud type of person, you can easily do that as well. Either one is totally fine, not going to cause any sort of issue or hang up. Now, there is no stop bar, stop pin. The thumb studs act as that. See that right there? Hits the frame lock in the G10, locks you into place. And that's where we'll get in the first quality control kind of annoying issue that I had with the tool, is that about 2-3 days in, I started to hear a rattle and the lockup started to get a little loosey-goosey on me. So I was like, what the heck is going on here? Discovered that the thumb stud was backing itself out and therefore starting to get a little loose, so that it would, when it hit up against the frame and the body, it was rocking slightly and causing a rattle. So I backed it out and discovered that there was no Loctite on it. So there was no Loctite at all. It wasn't like it had loosened up the Loctite or something. So I put on my own Loctite and it has solved that problem. But that's a simple oversight. Hopefully they regularly come with Loctite. If they don't, they should. Particularly if that is your stop pin slash, whatever, stopping mechanism. Because without that, you take that off and the blade swings up and there's nothing to stop it. So that needs to be a very tight, very secure setup, these thumb studs, and they were not out of the box. And so I had to fix that myself. So if you are having some slight rock and some rattle and you're trying to figure out what it is, it could be that your thumb stud needs to be tightened down and Loctite applied. So that was the first thing. Not a huge deal, but something that kind of annoyed me. I'm like, come on, like that's particularly if it's your stop bar is the thumb stud, put some Loctite on it. Now, though the deployment is very smooth, I have zero complaints with the smoothness of the deployment. It feels very nice and very smooth, but for longevity issues, just whatever, it does have Teflon bushings in there. And for the price that we'll get to in a minute, I'm not super thrilled about that. In this day and age, in this market, there's just so much else out there that it doesn't need Teflon. So I really would have preferred to see bronze bushings. They don't need to have ball bearing and all this crazy stuff, but bronze bushings is kind of a staple. Nylon definitely says cheap, definitely says budget, even though they did a good job and it is smooth. It's more of, is it hurting the function to have nylon? No. Does it say something about the build quality and time in the blade? Yes. So it's just something to consider there, but I mean, it is a very, very smooth. It does not feel gritty like some nylon washers. It doesn't feel that. It feels like bronze bushings, but they are nylon. So something to note there. Then we have our frame lock. Here we go. So just to show you the centering there, hitting about 50% right there, which is great. And so initially I was very happy with it because they even give you a little lip, because I've had issues with other frame locks in this price range from, say, like SE, the Vispa, I think, and then their SE Medillion or whatever the heck that one is. They both, the frame lock is like flush with the G10 and it's very thin, and so you're like jamming your thumb in there trying to release the frame lock. Not the case on this one. They even give you a little lip. You can see it right here. That doesn't hurt the ergonomics at all, but it makes it very easy for me to disengage and close. So I loved that aspect, and initially a very strong lockup. Didn't really have any issues once I fixed the thumb stud. No real wobble or rock until, hopefully you guys are going to be able to see this. There we go. Look at that. I just pushed that all the way over. And so what I ended up when I was out there doing all the cardboard testing, and guys, this is why I do the type of testing I do, is if I just, cut a few pieces of paper and cordage and then did a tabletop for you, this would not have occurred. But because I was putting a lot of hard pressure going through the rubber and going through some of the plastics, I was squeezing on the knife and it over traveled the frame lock all the way to the other side to where it jammed and I could not disengage it. So I had to stick my car key in here to pop it out. And when I did that, something occurred to the point where now this thing wobbles. You can see me just pressing on it and it just moves. It just moves back and forth and I can squeeze it and jam it basically. And then I really have to work at it and it's popping back and forth. And from that point on, while I was cutting, it was floating back and forth. I can feel it, and actually when I hit it like this, it's vibrating this entire lock bar and the body like a tuning fork. So there's a micron of distance now that has occurred and too much flex. I don't know if this portion, this cutout right back here, sorry, I'm trying to keep it all in frame. I don't know if this cutout is too thin right there, which would give you the traveling capability. And so now it's over flexing. And initially I was like, well, maybe I need to, get a second one, see. But I looked on YouTube and at least one other person is having this exact same issue. And I'm reading that there might even be some other people. So I think there is a major issue with the frame lock itself, maybe in this joint right here being too thin, allowing it to travel too far to one side and then get jammed up. And then from that point on now, not only again, literally right now, it's vibrating in my hand like a tuning fork when I hit it like that, because this is vibrating because there's just a hair of distance, and now there's slight up and down and there's slight side to side, and I can see, I don't know if you guys can see that. That guy is rocking back and forth in there, and it's just not a solid lockup any longer. I mean, the centering is perfect. Everything else about the blade, for the most part, aside from some of the little quirks like the thumb stud that I had earlier and the Teflon bushings, if that was the only two things, I'd be like, guys, for the price, if you like the design and you like AUS-8, go for it. It's a decent knife. At this point, I don't like it, and I can't recommend it to you because of this issue that I'm now having on top of just the other little quirks here. Tells me that there were either corners cut or that there are just design flaws in the overall knife that hold it back from being something that I would throw my money at. And that brings us to competitive options and the price point. So price on this guy that I paid for was $42. This floats anywhere from low 40s to high 40s. I've even seen it all the way up to like 50 bucks basically. So easily in the $42 to $45 price point is on average what you're going to find. I will have links in the description below. Blade HQ, Amazon, as well as backcountry.com and Knockaround Sunglass Company. All those help me buy gear just like this to give you guys these honest, in-depth videos week in, week out. Really appreciate it when you guys use those hyperlinks, and I will have links to all the other competitive options, in this case, more recommended options, in the similar vein that we're about to look at. So when we look at all the stuff here, just a few options that I want to roll in for frame locks. I have 2 frame locks right out of the gate. Is of course the rake, and this is the P801, 30 bucks, $32. So easily $10 cheaper. Sandvik 14C28N steel, better steel than the AUS8. All frame stainless steel, but have never had any sort. Look at this. I'm squeezing as hard as I can. No over travel issue whatsoever. This is on ball bearing bushings, not on Teflon, and really nice loop over, pocket clip. So right out of the gate, I mean, this makes a lot more sense. For $10 cheaper, you're going to get a lot more edge retention capability, smoother deployment, all of that. Very similar in size. Fantastic blade, one of my favorites, one of the best bang for bucks on the market, folks, for about $30. Another frame lock, if you're wanting something a little more tactical, this is definitely more EDC friendly, is, just as an example, the entire Emerson Kershaw line. Now, they will also have Teflon bushings, but again, at the price that they're wanting to charge, if this was like $32 instead of $42, I wouldn't have as much an issue if the lock bar wasn't having all these problems. With the thumb stud issue and the Teflon, I'd be like, yeah, it's all right, for 32 bucks or 35 bucks, because this guy's going to be about $35 or less. Teflon bushings, G10 handle on one side, stainless steel liner lock on the other. Never had an issue. Ambidextrous ambidextrous pocket clip, thumb disc, and Emerson Wave HCR 14 MOV steel. So this is even faster deployment out of the pocket. Better jimping, better cut in there, or similar cut in, I'll say. And again, about $10 cheaper. You're going to probably get similar edge retention capability out of these two, HCR 14 and AUS8 at this at this Rockwell. Very similar edge retention capability. Save yourself 10 bucks and even be a more tactical laid out folder than this TDI. Not frame lock, but again, very, very similar. This is the D2 version, but if we were looking at the AUS8 version, the AUS8 version of the Ontario Wrap Model 1, liner lock, bronze bushings, 4-way directional pocket clip, a little bit heavier, but similar in its feel. Those things are like 25, 30 bucks max, right? And those have bronze bushings again, nice thick liners, all that. So this D2 model costs the same as this AUS8 model with the Teflon. So again, that's the issue that I'm having with the price to value. It's just I'm not seeing it there compared to what else is on the market. Just for fun here, I'll do the Bird Raven 2 in CTS BD1 steel. Better edge retention than this AUS8. Close, it's kind of in between the Sandvik and the AUS8 is that CTS BD-Z1. It does have Teflon bushings, about $42 to $45 on average. G10 handles, 4-way directional pocket clip, strong liner lock. Very good blade. You could use it in a lot of either quote-unquote tactical application or in just general EDC. Made in China, again, made in Taiwan, China. But similar in size, that's kind of why I'm running it in there. And again, same price, but we're talking about some better features in slightly better steel quality and in just overall quality control, because we're not having that liner lock issue. And finally, just for a dog pile, a steel will Intrigue full size, a similar, little bit longer, but very similar actually profile in its design. Not a liner lock, or sorry, not a frame lock, but again, D2 steel, polymer handles, bronze bushings, and similar size. Going to run you about $42, same price as this. So better bushings, better steel than what you're going to be getting on the K-Bar TDI Flipper there. So I hate to say it, guys. I was going to say that it's like not necessarily the best value, but a decent folder. If you like the design, go ahead and pick it up. You could get more money bang for buck, but it's a good design, until I ran into this frame lock issue, and now seeing it on some other videos of other people having the exact same issue. It looks like it's some sort of malfunction in the design that needs to be reassessed and re-looked at by K-Bar, in my opinion, before it'd be worth taking another look at. So guys, that's my feedback. That's what I'm seeing on the design of the K-Bar TDI. Cool layout, decent materials, overpriced, and needs a rework on the frame lock so that it doesn't over travel and get jammed up and then cause lockup issues down the line, and some Loctite on the thumb stud would really help out a lot. So I hope that this video has just been informative, entertaining, and just giving you good food for thought. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, all the social media. Great way to see what's up and coming. Please subscribe if you're not a current subscriber. We're throwing up videos like this every single week, giving you food for thought, concepts, ideas, and yeah, we just really appreciate it, guys. Make sure to hit that subscription bell if you're already following us. Check out the other videos popping up, and always remember, guys, stay equipped, stay prepared. We'll see you out there.